Good morning, students. This is our part 2 of chapter evolution. Today we'll study about Urey and Miller experiment. So Stanley Miller in 1953, who was then a graduate student of Urey at the University of Chicago, demonstrated it clearly that ultraviolet radiation or electrical discharges or heat or a combination of these can produce complex organic compounds from a mixture of methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and water vapor. The ratio of methane, ammonia, and hydrogen in Miller's experiment was 2 is to 1 is to 2. Miller circulated four gases, methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and water vapor in an airtight apparatus and passed electrical discharges from electrodes at 800 degrees Celsius. He passed the mixture through a condenser. He circulated the gases continuously in this way for 1 week and then analyzed the chemical composition of the liquid inside the apparatus. He found a large number of simple organic compounds, including some amino acids such as alanine, glycine, aspartic acid, etc. Miller conducted the experiment to test the idea that organic molecules could be synthesized in a reducing environment. Reducing environment when there is no oxygen is present. Other substances such as urea, hydrogen, cyanide, lactic acid, and acetic acid were also present. In another experiment, Miller circulated the mixture of gases in some way, but he didn't pass the electrical discharge. He couldn't get the significant yield of the organic compounds. So by this experiment, he is showing that at the time when origin of Earth has taken place, then such temperature was present, and due to rain and condensation of materials took place, and this was all the substances were present. So formation of complex organic molecules took place by a variety of amino acid, fatty acid, hydrocarbon, purine and pyrimidines, simple sugars and simple organic compounds were formed in the ancient seas. In the primeval atmosphere, sources of energy for polymerization, reactions of organic synthesis took place. So, polypeptide molecules were synthesized. Similarly, simple sugars could form polysaccharides, fatty acids could combine to form fats, amino acids could form proteins. When other in complex organic molecules, for example, amino acids and units join together to form polypeptides and proteins. Simple sugar units combine to form polysaccharides. Fatty acids and glycerol form fats, and nitrogenous bases, phosphates, combined together to form nucleotides which polymerized into nucleic acids in the ancient oceans. So this is all about your Miller and Urey experiment. So if we summarize that origin of life, how took place, first of all we'll watch that free atoms were present like hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, etc. Then from these simple molecules like hydrogen, water, methane, ammonia, carbon dioxide were formed. And from these simple molecules, simple organic molecules like methane, carbon dioxide, water together formed sugars, fatty acids and glycerols. Methane, carbon dioxide, ammonia, when reacted together, then they form amino acids. Methane, water, ammonia, HCN, hydrogen cyanide, when together combined together, then they form nitrogenous bases just like purines and pyrimidines, which were the bases of nucleic acids. So, likewise, complex organic molecules were formed. Sugar, plus sugar, then polysaccharides, then fatty acids and glycerol form fats, amino acids form proteins. Likewise, nucleic acids and nucleotides were formed. So, first of all, first gene was formed, means self-replicating macroprotein complex were formed, and from these earlier cells were lipid protein membrane bound unit with enzyme controlled, nucleic acids having regulation but lacked organized nucleus. They were heterotrophs. So likewise, prokaryotes were formed, and around this plasma membrane was formed, and they had evolved chemotropism and phototropism and they were called the prokaryotes. Then from prokaryotes, by the evolution, eukaryotes were formed, and origin of multicellular organisms took place, which were photosynthetic like plants. Then heterotropic means they were animals also. So all these um, by progressive evolution, and this all took place millions years ago. As um, um, we can say that the origin of universe was 20 billion years ago, but our solar system is 4.5 to 5 billion years ago originated, and origin of earth originated approximately 4.5 million years ago, as we have done earlier. But the origin of earliest prokaryotes, we can say 3.5 billion years ago it was there. Origin of eukaryotes is approximately 1.5 billion years ago, and origin of mammals is approximately 220 million years ago. So in this slide, we'll study about paleontological evidences. First of all, we'll study that what is paleontology. The study of fossils is known as paleontology. Leonardo da Vinci was the father of paleontology, and by the paleontology evidences, we can determine the age of the fossils. So the age of fossils is determined by main two methods: uranium lead technique, and second is radiocarbon dating technique. Now, a brief account of uranium lead technique and radiocarbon dating technique will take into account. The uranium lead technique, this method is based on the conversion of unstable radioactive nuclei into stable nuclei over a fixed period. This method was introduced by Boltwood in 1907. It has been estimated that 1 million gram of uranium produce 70,600 gram of lead in 1 year. Therefore, by calculating the amount of lead in a rock, one can approximately estimate the age of rock, and thus the age of fossil present in it can be calculated. Second method is radiocarbon dating technique. This method was given by Willard F. Libby in 1950. In this technique, um, this technique can give accurate dates upon a maximum of about 35,000 years past. Radioactive C14 occurs naturally. It enters food chain and then found in all living organisms. When the death of the animal takes place, then C14, radioactive C14, decays to form nitrogen, normal nitrogen 14, and the age of the organisms, which are approximately 35,000 years old, can be estimated by this method. Now next is homologous organs and analogous organs. I think everyone knows the concept of homologous organs and analogous organs, as we have studied this in class 10th. Homologous organs are basically those organs which have same fundamental structure but are different in functions are called homologous organs. These organs follow the same basic plan of organization during their development, but in the adult condition, these organs are modified to perform different functions as an adaptation to different environment. So this homologous structures are this part of divergent evolution. Means homologous um, evolution means divergent evolution. Homology means indicates common ancestry. But analogous organs, in spite of analogous organs, they are having similar functions but are different in their structural details and details and origin are called analogous organs. The analogous organs are results of convergent evolution. So example of analogous evolution will be the wings of an insect and the wings of bird. This is due to the fact that both of the insects, the wings are the function of flying, but their structure is different. So they both are involved in the function of flying, but the insect wings are wings are different, and the wings of bird are the structure is both of them is different. And likewise, the example of homologous organs is, as you can see, the example bougainvillea and cucurbita. Both are having same structure, that the thorn and tendrils. Both are arising from the axial bud of the leaves, but their functions are different. In bougainvillea, axial bud gives rise to thorn and it helps in the helps in defense. And in Cucurbita, axial bit is giving out tendril, and tendril is going to support the support to the Cucurbita.